Welcome to another Spot On Chat. I'm Rebecca Monet with Zorakle Profiles. Zorakle provides profiling tools to franchisors and franchise consultants that helps facilitate a right fit between a prospective franchisee and a franchise concept. With me as my guest today is Sean Hart. He's the VP of Franchise Sales and Development at American Family Care. Sean is recognized by executive management and his colleagues for building collaborative relationships, revitalizing underperforming markets, developing a strong sales force, and being both strategic and performance driven. So Sean, welcome back to Spot On Chat.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
This is so fun. You know, I miss seeing you at various conferences. So this is like second best. Okay, we don't get the hug.
As good as we can get, and I'm happy to be here. And I'm always a little freaked out because I actually took the profile, so I know you know more about me than I probably. So if I answer anything wrong, let me know.
It's so fascinating to look at people's profiles and like you said, get a really deep dive into that individual.
Sure.
So yes, I know.
I agree. I'm not smart enough to say I'm a geek about it, but I do enjoy it quite a bit.
It's fun. You know, we all want to know about ourselves, our strengths and our weaknesses. So I wanted to talk with you about, when I found that you had gone to Auburn University, I just naturally assumed you were an Auburn fan, but I understand you're not really into sports. So what are some of your passions and some of your joys and interests?
Yeah, I have to be careful. There's a chance someone from the state will come and get me and take
Exactly.
me. It's almost forbidden not to be a stick and ball sport around this part of the world in the Southeast. I've never really been a sports guy. I grew up in a family that was all athletic and all played sports and all hated it. Every one of us, my father played baseball and hated it. I played football and I hated it. And we weren't even bad at it. We just didn't really enjoy it that much. And then I guess as an adult, I just very rapidly drifted away from any sort of stick and ball sport in terms of when we're standing around in the office and everybody starts talking about sports, I sort of go, yeah, cool. That's great. My daughter does play volleyball, so I've been super into volleyball lately. But as a kid, my thing was always, I was very, very lucky that my grandfather had a gas station, like an old school, old timey gas station where they still pump gas for you and everything. And I'm in that gas station. So anything with tires on it or a motor in it. It also happened to be right next door to a motorcycle sales dealership. So I had my eye on a little purple Indian motorcycle back when original Indian motorcycles from the age of about 2.5 until I was 12. Every Christmas they would say, "What do you want?" And I would say the motorcycle. And they would say, "You're not going to get that. What else would you like?" And I would just say the motorcycle. Every birthday, every Christmas. And then I finally got one at 10, which is horrifying for a lot of people, but I did. I got and then I got a bunch of scrapes and bruises. I loved every one of them. And I just sold my last big motorcycle about a year ago. And for anyone listening who may be familiar with it, I have this little bitty Honda Grom. It's almost like a toy, but it's the most fun motorcycle I've ever had. So even today, 31 years later, I still have at least one motorcycle laying around somewhere.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun. So this Grom, what makes it special? Is it just more agile because of its size, or what causes it to be so special?
It's one of those things that was, if you looked at it, you'd almost think it was a joke because it looks like a clown motorcycle. They make these little motorcycles and they'll use them for like it races on pit bikes. So if you're a racer, you need to get from one place to the other place really fast and it just zips in and out. And it's completely street legal, but it's a very small motorcycle. And when I say small, my 11-year-old kid can stand right on it. He has no problem.
No problem.
It's this little dinky thing. And I sold this humongous, loud, obnoxious motorcycle that I love dearly and thought, how could I ever live without it? And then I bought this toy, and the toy is more fun. And I am not a fanboy yet. I haven't gotten there, but if you ever are bored, like really bored, if you go online and look up that little motorcycle, there are so many forums and places where people trick them out and do like on them and all this other stuff. I'm not doing that yet. I take the kids for rides around the neighborhood and we have fun, but nothing crazy. But yeah, they're just, they're a hoot. They're an absolute hoot.
I love it. I'm into cars. Have been. I love the muscle cars, the 50s and 60s and
Yep.
70s muscle cars, and collected old cars for a while. And I had a uh, Camaro, right, a '68 Camaro for a while, and it was really souped up. Basically ran on jet fuel is what it ran on. And my son, who at that time was about 16, 17 years old, would take the car into this tiny little town, a place called Neosho, Missouri, and he would drive the car. And of course, it just rumbled. It would just sit there and
Sure.
rumble at any kind of
It's
gas
a
station.
beautiful sound. It's a great thing.
It's just such a fabulous car. And people would, again, small town, just come out to come look at this beautiful vehicle and the sound of this vehicle and just ooh and ah. And he'd lift up the hood and all of that fun kind of stuff. And then he'd come home and he'd be mad as a wet hen. And he goes, I hate having to tell people this is my mom's car.
That's great. That is great.
So
That is my grandmother. My grandmother had a Dodge Charger when she was probably in her 80s, and it was, I guess it was 71. I don't, maybe it was 71. She called it the Batmobile when we were kids because I don't think she understood what we called it. And it was the light of her life. That was the most fun thing that it would actually been my father's car. And when he moved, she took it. And I think she took no more joy than driving that huge, loud, extremely fast car around. And all the young people were scared to death of her. And she absolutely didn't care. It was.
oh, that's a riot. Oh, so anything with tires, anything with an engine,
Yep.
you're in 100%.
I will watch just about anything that burns gas, and I guess it's even getting into electric because there's some of the electric stuff is actually pretty cool. Um, Formula E, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the race cars that are all electrified, and then there's some new motorcycles coming out that are going to be really insane. They can't go far enough to do a lot of what they do now, but motorcycle power with bicycle frames is essentially where it's headed, and it's just insane the stuff that I think they're going to be able to do with that. And you can even hear me now. I'm geeking out just talking.
Wow. So motorcycle power on a bike kind of frame. So you got this lightweight thing you could put in the back of your truck if you wanted
Yep.
to, or van or whatever, and then pull it out, just literally lift it out, and you'd have the same.
That's it. There's a transition between, there was two different directions it started from. They started with e-bikes and trying to build full-on e-bikes, and they've had some success with that. There are some e-bike races. They do an EGP that you can watch that's much like MotoGP, just much shorter, not as fast and shorter, but very cool bikes. There's no inertia. There's no rotating parts other than so all the crazy stuff that motors do, that goes away. And then there was the e-bikes and bicycles that started, and they're fun and cool, and you can do all sorts of stuff with that. And it's sort of in the middle, there's this, it's bigger than a bicycle, and it's not as big as the full-size motorcycles, and it can go 45, 50 miles an hour, which is way faster than a motorcycle, but, than a bicycle.
Bicycle, yeah.
You still get like the best of both worlds, and you just do insane stuff with them.
I may have to look into this myself.
Oh, be careful, Simon Cowell. Everybody heard the thing about Simon Cowell. They said he broke his back on an electric bicycle, and he did not. He broke his back on an electric motorcycle because he had no idea what he had under him. So I don't know if you've heard that or not, but
I've not, but
he's on one of the Dancing with the Americans.
Yeah.
Who knows what it is. But yeah, he got hurt because they think they're toys, and they're pretty serious business.
Pretty serious. So it looks like a bicycle, but it's not. Oh my gosh.
I want one so bad I can't see.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to this. You're going to have to post on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever once you get this. So it sounds like you got one kind of in mind already.
Oh, I do. And it's completely street legal because it only goes 35 unless you take this one secret screw out that's really hard to find unless you have, I don't know, YouTube or something, and then you might be able to figure out how to get it out of there.
You can learn anything on YouTube. I learned how to change a bulb on my car on YouTube. I have a little Mercedes and the headlight went out and I'm like, I can do this. And oh my gosh, it was so complicated. YouTube, you can learn anything on YouTube.
You can learn everything on YouTube. That's it.
I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to this new adventure you're going to have. So please, you're going to have to share this.
I will. I
New.
will. It'll be fun, and hopefully I'll be in midair somewhere, and I can show you jumping through the air. Yeah, exactly. It'll be all kinds of fun.
So we're gonna have to come up with a name for the bike. So we got Hulk on some kind of
Yeah, I don't know.
steed, right? It has to be some kind of cool, funky name for Hulk to be riding this. I'm going to call it a steed for now.
We'll go with that. We can go with that. I'll put some thought into it. Something will pop up.
Absolutely.
You know what the crazy thing is? The crazy thing is that the same way that I think ball sports are part of other folks' life, that it just feels normal. It doesn't even feel odd. Sometimes I don't realize that I'm the oddball until I start
You
talking with.
are. You're on.
Well, I am clearly. I mean, there's so many reasons. This is just that I add this one to the list of reasons I'm an oddball, in that I do know people that like motorsports, and I do know people that are into cars and different things, but that is really what fills that niche for me. So it's weird. I don't get to do it very often. There's very few folks that I talk to that are as into it as I am. So
Well, I'm going to do some research because now you know me, I'm endlessly curious. I'm going to have to get online, learn about this
start
motorcycle,
looking.
the
Start
Grum,
looking.
and then this other thing.
Yep.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you for sharing your passion for wheels and engines, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to have you back on another Spot On chat, Sean.
It would absolutely be my pleasure.